Good morning, and welcome to our presentation on Proven Solutions Accounting, Automated Approvals with Search Express. My name is Ryan Pritchard, and I'm the Sales Manager here at Can-Am Systems. I'll be taking us through our integration with Search Express and how it can be used to streamline not only our approval process for AP invoices, but also can be used out in the field for scanning and uploading receipts for all of our credit card charges. Just before we get started, I wanted to cover a couple of quick housekeeping items. Today's meeting will be hosted on Zoom, and therefore we ask that all attendees remain muted throughout the duration of today's presentation to avoid any sort of background noise or interference that may affect how other people listen to today's presentation. If you jumped in late, missed today's presentation, or want to review what we covered, everything will be recorded and made available to all attendees via our help library on our website once the conference concludes. And we encourage that if you do have any questions, to please enter them into the chat box in Zoom, and we'll try to address as many questions as we can at the end of our presentation. For any questions that get missed, we'll address those offline directly with the person who entered them. For today's meeting, we're going to be breaking it down into three key components, starting with how you can get set up on Search Express and how the integration works with both desktop and web. We'll then be defining the different roles that are inside Search Express to better understand how they work and how it affects our workflow processes. Next, we'll be learning how to import AP invoices and how they can be routed for approval out of our Search Express. We'll then look at the different workflow options that are available to us for customers that are using work orders, POs, or just vouchers and bills. We'll then talk a little bit about the approval process options that you have. In addition to this, we'll be looking at our field application for both our importers and our approvals as it pertains to receipt scanning, routing, and approval that inevitably will translate into PSA and our credit card charges screen. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Search Express, this is a third-party application that can be purchased through Can-Am and is currently integrated into Proven Solutions Accounting Desktop and soon to be Proven Solutions Accounting Web. Search Express is made up of three main applications. The first is our Search Express server application, which handles our AP invoice scanning and links directly to both PSA Desktop and PSA Web in order to route invoice details directly into the system to generate vouchers and bills. The second application is the Search Express Web Library. This application can be used to quickly search or find any historical invoice or receipt that's been scanned previously using keywords, dates, or approvers to narrow our search down and pull up a range of documents that we can look up. The Search Express Web Library is also used for our web inbox for our approvers. This allows each approver to log in, no matter where they are, and access any invoice or receipt that needs to be approved. And finally, the Search Express mobile app will allow our field staff to scan credit card receipts and charges while out in the field, and also comes with an approver app that allows our project team to approve while they're out and about, jumping from job site to job site. Inside Search Express, there are a number of different roles that play a significant part in our workflow processing. Starting with our scanner role, this role is exclusive to the server application and allows for this license to scan or import any AP invoices or receipts that are either coming in through paper, email, or directly from a PDF document or image. The scanner can also select information or choose how to route the invoices and receipts directly to our approver. The importer role is exclusive to the mobile app and allows for our field staff to scan receipts or invoices directly from their smart device using the camera. This can also be routed to our approval through the mobile app, and our approver can access these documents either through the web using their inbox or directly through the web mobile approval app. Now that you understand the different components that make up Search Express, as well as the different roles, we're going to start with scanning AP invoices on the server side and routing them for approval onto our job management team. The Search Express server application should be installed on the same server that your PSA desktop database is located. In the case of the web, this can also be hosted or installed on a local machine that has access to seeing our PSA database. This is where our scanner will do most of their input entry for AP invoices and receipts. Our scanner can either bring in these documents through paper scanning, or they can be brought in through PDFs, images, or directly from our email. In here, I can select a single invoice or multiple invoices simply by coming in and holding down the Control key to bring in additional invoices into my wizard. In here, I have an invoice that I can now start to map directly to my digital fields. These fields can be set up and defined to link directly to your PSA database. In my case, I have it set up to recognize work orders and PO numbers, input job information, as well as being able to assign it to our project manager or approval teams that are linked directly into my PSA database. In this case, to recognize this information on the side, I first have to teach the system where this information needs to go as invoices start to come in. Simply highlighting a section on my invoice, I can now dump this information here on the side, and it will highlight the information that I've brought over and allow me to now start grabbing different details that I can now add and teach the system where this information needs to go. You'll also notice that there are some drop-down fields in here as well. In my case, these drop-down fields will also link to the work orders and PO numbers that sit within my PSA database and can associate back to my job. By selecting the correct work order or PO number, it can also fill in all of my job details here and understand which project manager, estimator, or coordinator are linked directly to our job, and will allow me to send this out directly for approval to our appropriate person before finishing my save. Workflow criteria in Search Express is customizable and can be defined by each customer setting it up. As I scan in an invoice, I can choose which fields appear on the left-hand side to populate for my invoice details. In addition to this, some of these fields can also link to our PSA database. So if I wanted to populate our work order and PO numbers, by clicking the drop-down, it'll show me everything that's open and active that I can select, as well as the ability to choose our job number or name. And once I've selected it, will tell me what project manager, estimator, or coordinator is sitting specifically on that job so I can route appropriately. Once I send this out for approval, I can also change the workflow criteria as far as who needs to approve and how many levels of approvals based on our vendor, our invoice size, or even our job type. Once our approver receives this information, I can dictate which of this information I need them to complete if I wasn't able to grab it initially before sending it out. This required approval criteria allows us to then put additional information that maybe only the project team knows, that they can populate additional information for us before pushing this back into our system and into PSA. There are three types of approval processing between Search Express and PSA, depending on how you're using the system today. Once all approval criteria has been met, the first method allows this to convert the work order or PO number that's been referenced on the invoice automatically into a voucher on the AP side in PSA. The second method of approvals allows that work order and PO to be converted, but will remain on hold until all the approval criteria is met, and the on hold checkbox will automatically come off. And the third method is for customers that are not using work orders or POs today, and will require that they manually create the voucher number and paste the voucher number into the invoicing screen in Search Express so that both the voucher and invoice are linked manually, and once approval criteria has been met, can take that voucher or bill off hold directly in PSA. Once we've sent our invoices and receipts out for approval, I can check the status of those invoices and receipts being uploaded to make sure they've been stored in the web database and are ready for approval. To look these invoices up, I can then go into my search criteria and jump directly into my web inbox to start looking for this information. In here, under our simple search screen, I can type in keywords or phrases to find any invoice or receipt using any of the data fields that I had on my approval screen. There's also an advanced search option that allows us to come in here and use multiple criterias to really refine my search to just seeing the information that I need. In this case, I want to see the invoices that we have with dates for this month. And when I click search, the list brings up the documentation that I have, showing me in here which of these have been approved, when they were approved, who they were approved by, and what information still needs to be approved. In here, I can click the pencil button if I want to come in here and add or modify information on this particular invoice. I also have the ability in here as well to come in here and identify annotations directly onto my invoice. By coming into the advanced criteria, I can click on this annotation tag, and it will allow me to jump into my document to then put in additional notes or comments directly onto my invoice itself. At this point, I can change the color, size, and font. And although this won't actually print on our invoice, it will give me the ability again to put annotations so that anyone searching in the Search Express system will be able to see my notes directly on the invoice itself. And if I want to redact information, I also have the ability to come in here and do that on any pertinent or privacy information that I need to exclude. Once I'm ready with my edits, I simply click Save Changes, and it now edits my document. Once our invoice has been routed for approval, our approver will receive an email letting them know they have something in their inbox that's waiting to be approved. By clicking the link, it'll take them directly to their web inbox, allowing them to review, select the transactions, and approve. Once the approval has been made and all approval criteria has been met, in my case, it'll actually create the voucher on my PSA side. You can see that the voucher has been put on hold and will be taken off hold automatically once all the approval criteria has been met. On the web, it works very similar in the sense that it's going to create for us our accounts payable entry. and will indicate on the invoice itself that it's been placed on hold until all approval criteria has been met. Now that you understand how the AP approval process works, Search Express also allows for tracking of expenses and receipts for our field staff directly from their smart device. Let's take a look at how the importer and approval process work on the mobile app. Unlike the server and website of the AP approval processing, Search Express Mobile has two key apps that make up our importer app for scanning and coding of receipts, our approver app for our approvers to approve, reject, or skip, and the end result of that coming back into Search Express and dumping into a CSV file that we can now import into PSA under the credit card charges screen. To start off, I can simply come into my mobile app and I can use the camera to take a picture of my receipt. Once I have my photo snapped, I can then use the left-hand side to fill in the details for my credit card charge. In this case, I can start to put in things like the vendor name and the amount. And I can also use Microsoft's AI technology to OCR the information on my receipt and strip out all the details as well. In here, you can see that I also have the ability to predefine a lot of this information so that if I have it connected into our database, rather than having to come and type this information, I'll be able to pick out our job numbers, who I'm going to actually send this information to, as well as identifying the type of expense, both the category and selector, before hitting save and having it route out of the system. Much like on the AP approval process side, our approver will be notified that there's something in their in-basket to approve. In here, I can either choose to approve this information viewing my web inbox, or I can come onto my mobile app and decide to review this and approve it from the mobile side. In here, I'm simply going to go into my approver app. It's going to load in the receipts that I'm here to approve, which I'll get the details with as far as what I need to see. I then have the ability to come in here and approve, reject, or skip to look for the invoice that I'm actually looking for. And once I have it loaded on my mobile device, I can then come in here and hit the approve button, and it will mark that as approved with the date and time of my approval. Back on the Search Express server side, our system will then collect all the credit card charges and expenses and export them to a CSV format that can then be imported into our credit card charges inside both the desktop and the web. Simply by coming into the banking module, selecting credit card charges, and selecting the CSV Import, it will allow us to pull that file in and bring in all the details for those approved credit card charges. The same can be found in the web application by simply coming into the banking module, clicking on the credit card charges at the top, and underneath the details, you'll find under Actions the CSV import file that you can use. I wanted to start by thanking everyone for coming out to today's presentation on automated approvals and receipt scanning through our third-party integration with Search Express. For more information on Search Express or to book an online demo, feel free to reach out to us on the sales side through email, phone, or our website, and we'd be happy to give you additional details on how to get started. We're going to open it up to the floor now for any questions that may have come. We're going to open it up to the floor now for any questions that may have come up during the course of our presentation.